Guys, what's going on? I am kind of irritated, a little bit pissed. I should have known, but I thought I could get away with it. When I put this new motor in, you see the radiator's out? Put the new motor in, I used the radiator that came out of the truck that the motor was in. It looked good and reasonably fresh. Well, it's not. First couple of times I drove it, in fact, the first time I drove it and really got it hot, the radiator started leaking. And it's leaking in the same, or one of the two same places that the other 3 radiators I've been through is leaking. The other 3 that I've been through I've repaired multiple times, and I'm just fed up with this shit. You can get a brand new one, pay $1,000 for it, $1,200 for it from one of the surplus dealers, and it'll last you a couple of years, and it's going to do the same damn thing. What they like to do is the solder joints where the steel frame connects to the brass tanks and all, they break because everything vibrates so much. The biggest problem I have is the top tank seams bust. And they don't like burst, but they crack and they start leaking like a bitch. And it's usually the front seam will start first, and you'll fix that, and the back seam will start leaking, which this one, the back seam started first. I don't know if it's been repaired before, but I've been back and forth with this so many times. I'm just sick to death of fixing these fucking things. I'm probably going to have lead poisoning from solder. Anyway, I wanted to show you what happens. It's not like, it doesn't blow the seam apart, and I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this with the camera on this phone, but if you look down in there, you can see the solder itself has actually cracked. Just, you can barely see it. And it's you can actually see it more right there. You can see the crack very evident because there's still a little paint in there. But over here, if you look right in the middle of the gray, you can see the crack. So it's like a 6 or 8 inch crack in the solder. And I mean, if you know how to silver solder, sweat solder, whatever, it's not a big deal to fix. Like, I'm just going to use some flux, some liquid flux, and my Burns-O-Matic torch, and some metalworking solder, some acid core solder. Acid core, not Ascor. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, right here. I got this at the hardware store. Alpha Metals acid core solder. And on top of that, I mean, you can use this alone, but I like to use a liquid flux. I get the metal hot and then drop the flux on there, and it reflows the original solder. It helps to clean out impurities that you can't get out with a wire brush. So, but even then, you know, like, there's been times that I'll fix a front seam or a back seam, and I'll put the radiator back in, and the very first time I get it hot, warming it up to make sure it's not leaking, the opposite seam will crack, and I'm tired of this. I'm not going to show you me soldering this because it's just, I'm always cussing and it's frustrating, and I spend more time fixing what I fuck up because I get it too hot sometimes, and it's just embarrassing. So it's a waste of time to show you, and it makes me look dumb, and I know it does. So what I was going to tell you about it is there is a conversion that people are starting to do now, and a friend of mine started it. His name is Jonathan Anderson. He uses a Chevy C20 radiator, a 4-row radiator out of like a 60s Chevy truck. It's an aluminum radiator. It's got flanges on the side that bolt on. And it's the right size, but instead of being the outlet up here, the outlet is in the center. So you've got to make like an S-pipe or whatever. Use couple of 90-degree coolant hoses and whatever. You can figure out your own hoses. There's a few different ways you can do it. It's not a big deal. The other thing is you got to fabricate or do a little bit of fabrication of your own frame. Now, you can use pieces of the frame from this and put your radiator, the new one, in it and kind of drill some holes and bolt it together. Use a piece of angle iron here and there and make that all work. And you can actually change this fan out to a 19, I think it's a 19, it might be a 7, I think it's a 19. Let me check. 19-inch fan. Yeah, okay. Well, this fan is like a 19 and what, 7/8. You can get either a Flexolite fan or one of the plastic 4-bolt hub fans from Jegs or Summit. And all you've got to do is open up these 4 holes just a little bit and it'll bolt right on. And what that'll do is save you from slinging the metal blades off of these fans, because a lot of them are really old and they're bad about either the hub cracking and slinging a blade off through your radiator, or the rivets failing and doing the same thing. You go to a plastic one, it's less weight on the water pump, all that shit. So, and they're cheap. They're like $20. So why the hell not? You can get them off eBay too. Anyway, that's about all I wanted to tell you. I think that the Chevy, the C20 radiators, you can find them on eBay, and I think it's the same radiator as a C10. Just make sure it's a 4-row radiator. You know, you've got to hold enough coolant to be able to cool the motor. All these motors do run pretty cool. And it's not going to hold as much antifreeze, but it doesn't matter apparently. I mean, he tows and hauls and all kinds of shit, runs through the mountains, and he's never had a hot running problem. They're about $200 generally, and you can get higher dollar ones, higher quality ones. The $200 ones are Chinese made ones, imported, and he doesn't seem to have had any problems with them. And other people have done it too, and I haven't heard anything bad. So just a thought. I don't have another $200 to throw at this right now, so I'm going to try to fix this turd. And even if I did, I don't know if it'll work with the Cummins I'm going to put in, and I'm not going to throw $200 down the drain. So that's about it, I guess. Don't forget to put your bolts on. I put the lower springs and nuts on the radiator, and I guess I forgot to tighten them up because they were gone. So do that, don't forget. Same with the ground strap. I didn't forget that, but a lot of people do. So thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful to you. Like and subscribe if you would, please, and we'll see you next time.